will need to know the new trends and know how to handle. Because sometimes students can say like, okay, the teacher is the one who needs to know about how to handle or use this application. But we know that that's not true, okay? We need to know as students how to use application, not only the social media apps, okay? Because are similar, okay? Maybe the fixtures are similar, but not the same. And sometimes the professor said, okay, why people use social media and things related to social media apps, but the students sometimes avoid to learn more about educational platforms or apps. So that's why, okay, best apps to complement English classes. And as I mentioned before, the people that maybe, lo que no entienden, just pay attention and you will know more apps that you can download, because I know that some of you has a course with the professor in English. So these apps can help you for improve your learning. So as an introduction, I will show you this video. This video, as I mentioned before, will show you a traditional class, okay? So please pay attention to the faces of the students, how the professor is standing, okay, in the class. And then I will ask you a question, okay? This is my introduction because I think that sometimes the first thing that we need to know is how to apply multimedias, okay? Videos, audios, podcasts. All these things will help also, because sometimes people say like, why videos? But the video is a new trend that we need to add, because right now kids are visual and we need to use what they have, you know, they have their, encourage them in the things that they like, okay? So please play the video. Thank you.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone, raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression. Today, we have a similar debate over this. Anyone know what this is, class? Anyone? Anyone? Anyone seen this before? The Laffer curve. Anyone know what this says? It says that at this point on the revenue curve, you will get exactly the same amount of revenue as at this point. This is very controversial. Does anyone know what Vice President Bush called this in 1980? Anyone? Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
Okay, so I present this video because I think that this is the traditional class that sometimes we met, okay? And I have a question. Tell me the feelings that probably, okay, the students could show and why. Who can tell me? What their face show? Okay, they are boring, right? Tired, okay? We know that in the other side, we will have students with different feelings and situations. But that's why the strategy and the tools or resources that we are going to use, we must encourage them, okay? And that's why I brought this topic. Next, please. Okay, as I mentioned before, what is an app? We used to listen to these terms, and we don't know sometimes the difference between each one. What is an app? An app is computer software or a program, most commonly a small specific one used for mobile devices. The term app originally referred to any mobile or desktop application, but as more app stores have emerged to sell mobile apps to smartphones and tablet users, the term has evolved to refer to small programs that can be downloaded and installed all at once, okay? Technopedia 2012. It's important to know that an app, okay, it's an important tool, as I mentioned, people use to download TikTok and those kind of things. So we need to encourage students to know what apps they have available. And there are apps that are for free that they can download in their cell phone, smartphone, and then they can improve one of the skills in English that I will show you later. Next. Okay, these are the 4 skills that we used to work in the classes as teachers, okay? The listening, writing, reading, and speaking. Sometimes in that traditional class, professors produce the writing, okay? Just writing, grammar. But we think that because we have the oral part or the speaking part, it's just for a higher or intermediate level of English, but that's not true, okay? We can also start teaching the speaking part, okay, to our students, even if they are in a basic level. So that's why there are some apps that also show us, okay, the different levels available. And as the books, they show the information about what are the fixtures. So in that way, the teacher can know what is the one that they need for their classes. So it's also important to know that in English, we are working with an input and output, taking in consideration the 4 skills I said before: the listening, the speaking, reading, and writing. I'm showing with my fingers, but I have the technology here in my hands. So I'm going to, this slide. Okay, here we have the listening. In this part, we have the input. What is the input? Who can tell me the ones that are there? If you know what is an input of the language, you are studying English, so you need to know. What is the input? That's right. That's right. So the input will be more than the information, okay? We are talking about the language, okay? It's everything that is going to enter in our brain, information related to the language. And then the output is the production, okay, of the language, the production. That's why we have the speaking and the writing. But as we know that professors used to focus in the writing. Sometimes it's because they have a lack of strategies, okay? They have a lack of strategies and they don't know that speaking is also, we can work also that's with strategies and help our students to produce the language orally, okay? And here we have the input that are all the listening activities and reading. As Spanish, we know that reading, we can increase our vocabulary, okay? That's one of the objectives of reading. So now I'm going to show you some apps and then I'm going to explain you as a complement, how can you add in your lesson plans in order to encourage your students. We have Elsa, Poro, Duolingo, Lingota, and Tandem. Raise your hands if you know about 2 of them. 3, 4, if you know all of them. Okay, so maybe you know some of them, and this is important because you will know new applications that you can add or practice, okay, or download in your device. Also, we have Speak and Talk, Phonetic Listening Pronunciation App, Buzu, Grammarly. We have Hemingway, Babel, Cake, and Reading Trainer. All these apps, okay, are available for free version. So that's important because sometimes, okay, we know that we cannot pay a monthly and, you know, spend money on this. And sometimes you can have the free version. And if you think that that application works for you, you can continue with the payment part. But as a teacher, we need to try, okay, to know which ones are free and which one you have to pay. Why? Because at the end, okay, remember it's a complement and we don't know if the student it's available for paying for these apps, because some of them are expensive and according to the fixtures, it's going to be the payment. So let's start now to know how to add this in your classes. Here we have grammar and writing. In grammar and writing, we have here Grammarly. If you want to do a thesis, this is I recommend you Grammarly. If you have to do any kind of writing task, okay, Grammarly can help you to check the information, okay? Okay, all these apps, okay, have the option to change the language, okay? All of them. Some of them are just English to Spanish, Spanish to English, and others have more languages available, okay? Grammarly is famous in the United States because most of the people used to check the thesis, and in that way they have less mistakes at the end, okay, of the process of check it. Also, we have Hemingway that have an online version, and also it has it is in a Play Store. So here, the difference between each one, we can say that Grammarly offer more fixtures like a plagiarism, okay? And Hemingway work and a half of what Grammarly offer, okay? Checking the text, if you can improve to sound better, okay? So, or giving to you words that can improve the text. So these are 2 amazing grammar and writing apps that you can advise or recommend to your students at the moment to do any kind of essay or things like that, okay? To review. Okay, then we have the listening. In the listening, we need to take care because we have a half or more than the half of the apps that have listening. But in listening, we need to know, for example, the accent, okay? What accent we are looking for. Because the apps, okay, are maybe from United Kingdom and others could be American accent. So we need as teacher to check, okay, that point so the student can, because remember that listening is something that depends of your ear. And I will say this because sometimes the student, if they listen to somebody, a Chinese, speaking in English, okay, the accent will be harder for them. Some apps offer to you, okay, exercise or listening exercise for foreign people or people who are not native. So this is an area that we need to handle to our students, because at the end, we are looking for people that will use the language not only for native people, okay? So we need to know that the listening apps, okay, we need to know which one can help to our students according to the area. If it's tourism, for example, they need to exercise their ears in different accents, not just one. So here we have Poro. Poro, okay, have dialogues like here, where you can pronounce and it can check if you pronounce in a right way. Also, we have Cake. Cake show you a video, okay? And this video have a script that can guide you to know what is the text that they have in the conversation. And then you can have the option to speak, and also they can evaluate if you pronounce the dialogue similar than the video. So then we have the pronunciation apps. That's another skill that beginners, we need to add to our classes, because sometimes the people feel afraid to speak because they don't know how to pronounce things, or they think that people can, laugh you about what you are saying. And that's something that we need to take in consideration with beginners, okay? This one, the listening pronunciation app, show you a video, and this video have available the phonemes. We know as teachers what is a phoneme, because in English, the people think that it's just like A, I, O, U, the sounds of, but we know that in English, we handle more sounds than the ones that we speak in Spanish. So the people sometimes made the mistake to mispronounce things because they don't know this. So this is a good app to teach to our students the different sounds in English. Then we have here Elsa. Elsa have a tutors or online tutors available. So that's the difference between this one. This is completely an asynchronous, I will say asynchronous, because all the lessons are here, okay, available for the student. The microphone. Okay, is in the Play Store is English phonetic listening pronunciation. At the end, I can show you in the Play Store how you can, because there are two. There are two available, but one is for free, completely free, like this. Elsa, you have to pay. They have a trial that you can handle it as free. Okay, then we have conversation. This is for intermediate to advanced, okay? You can speak with real people, okay? It's not an app. So Tandem, okay, you can have a chat session, but also you can have like video calls, okay, with people from other countries. They have also available different languages, so it's not just for English. And English Toll is also another app. This is for free, but I found that people from India, they use a lot this one, English Talk. But it's interesting that the accent, okay? So you can advise to your students or challenge your students in this one. Okay, these 4 apps that are here, okay? Babbel, Duolingo, that is the famous one. Okay, we have Lingora, and we have bus. These four are for general English. When I said general English means that they have different fixtures that work listening, that work speaking, that work a piece of each one. And that's important because at the end, for a beginner to an intermediate, if you want to work, okay, the four areas, they can do it. So you can advise to your students, okay, to download or subscribe to this, well, the free one, the free one is the Duolingo. That's why it's famous. Then finally, we have the reading area. In the reading area, okay, we have this reading trainer. The reading trainer is an app that also challenges students for the speed. This one is also for beginner. And the speed and the comprehension. Because remember that if you think too much in what you are reading, that's not an effective, or that's not comprehension at all. So we need to challenge students with the speed. So this app, okay, have a text with a number of words, and you can be able to read it, and finally they will test you about your comprehension. So now, I have a gift here, okay? And I need to challenge you in the technology, in the use of technology. And these are 4 apps that I mentioned. The first of you that guess which one are the 4 apps will get this gift. Okay, so turn on and use your QR, the 4 one. The 4 one. Yes. Pardon? Pardon? Uh-huh. The number 1. But you have to tell me the 4 one. So if you have a paper, write on a paper the 4 ones, or I don't know, but you have to give me the 4 one. It's not one by one. Yes, the 4 names. And you come here in front and tell me the 4 names. That's the way to get the gift. Okay, I will give you the microphone and also the control, so you can tell me and point it which one. Okay, okay, I'm going to, okay, let me know which one is.
Okay.
This one.
Cake.
This one.
English phonetic pronunciation.
This one.
Yes. No, Duolingo. English talk incognito speech. And English phonetic pronunciation. Thank you.
Okay. Congratulations. Okay, so my recommendations are, it is just a complement. Remember that we cannot replace, okay, the role of the teacher. It's a complement. The second one, set the time and frequency of its use. If you don't set the time, maybe the student, will not do it. Encourage students' progress monitoring the app. So you have to follow up what they are doing. Assign things, check the things, that's the way. Train and guide student in its use. Before you give the app, you need to try to train about the features that you want they use. So as a conclusion, what we learn with pleasure, we never forget. Alfred Mercier. Thank you so much.
Schoology's powerful toolset lets you build content and engagement locally, including assignments, interactive discussions, and more. Teachers can also bring in their favorite third-party tools and content providers, including the entire assignment workflow with Google and Microsoft productivity suites. For users that have already built content in Google Classroom, Schoology Learning provides a unique and easy-to-use import tool that lets you bring your work in without having to recreate it. This class is structured in units, made of lessons, populated with pieces of content. This level of content management and organization is key to consistent and high-quality delivery of instruction. Schoology helps improve student engagement by providing various resources and opportunities to demonstrate learning. Assessment is a crucial step in the teaching and learning cycle. Schoology provides robust course assessment capabilities to assess student learning. Technology-enhanced items, online tools, and the ability to share assessments offer flexibility to meet needs across grade levels and subject areas. Instant access to results and item analysis gives teachers a whole child view of student progress and the information they need to best support their students. This platform provides the flexibility to collaborate, create, and arrange content to meet individual student needs. Schoology supports personalized learning and differentiated instruction in several ways. Any content or collection can be individually assigned to students or groups of students to ensure that they have access to the right content that meets them where they are. Additionally, with student completion, educators can create personalized learning paths for students that support independent work with predefined criteria and learning experiences. Schoology is flexible and powerful enough to support various grading practices and policies, including traditional and standards-based grading. Create, share, and add rubrics to provide students with granular feedback. With Schoology, teachers can easily associate activities to standards and grade them using alpha or numeric grade scales. Real-time access to student mastery data makes it possible to differentiate instruction and meet every student's needs. Schoology is an interoperable system that supports grade passback to student information systems. This integration saves teachers time and prevents the duplication of work. PowerSchool SIS users can even write standards-based grades back to PowerTeacher Pro and take their daily attendance right in Schoology. Schoology Learning is a one-stop shop for students too. It's the hub of their day-to-day work. Students can access instructional content, communicate with teachers, and collaborate with peers. Here, we are looking at the student experience. Students have various tools to demonstrate their knowledge and get meaningful feedback from teachers. Schoology gives students agency in their learning by providing a variety of ways to demonstrate understanding and engage with the content. Embedded accessibility tools, like the Immersive Reader, ensure that students have the support they need to succeed. This critical tool also extends to families to support special needs and language accommodations. Schoology is designed to meet the needs of all students, including those in early elementary school. As many elementary teachers already know, young learners are developmentally unique and have different needs than older students. Schoology provides a dedicated user experience that reduces cognitive load and streamlines access to content for young learners on the mobile app and online. Teachers can enable this elementary-focused experience for any class they want. This feature also activates a new, age-appropriate assignment type within Schoology. Here, students have a voice and choice to demonstrate what they know. They can turn in recordings, drawings, photos, typed work, or an uploaded file to show mastery. Whether on our mobile app or online, Schoology families can access their students' course content and grades. Families are an essential part of the learning community, so it's important that they can access this great tool. Schoology ensures open lines of communication with updates, alerts, and direct messaging capabilities. Unlike many other LMSs, Schoology is only focused on K-12 needs. The groups functionality in Schoology provides a flexible space to communicate and collaborate. This feature includes student groups, family groups, and staff groups. Teachers can share information, engage in dialogue, and pool common resources in this curriculum and instruction group. Here, you can see the organization and access to content. These features help teachers and leaders collaborate and share best practice resources, supporting equity of access to high-quality learning material. Resources provide a flexible place to manage materials for educators and leaders at the district or organization level. Here, you will have unlimited storage and the flexibility to organize content to meet your needs. You can easily add these resources to an individual course or create a course template. Course templates allow curriculum leaders to build courses and share them directly with users to access and use high-quality content. Schoology provides a complete set of online teaching and assessment tools needed for today's learning environments, all in one integrated platform and part of PowerSchool's Unified Classroom solution. Interested in learning more about Schoology Learning or Unified Classroom? Schedule a personalized demo today.
hopefully or luckily. We get a department, people or professors from IPE, and they help us a lot with this situation. Sometimes we need to talk to them. We need to establish a communication with them. We need to establish communication with them in order to them to help us with this situation, the way that we can apply activities in classroom for our students, and to help them to get better. Another group, social issues that affect classrooms, the one that we live every day, financial problems. Yeah, we got students with no money. Sometimes they go to schools with just a few coins and the student card for the bus, and that's it. Okay, we got a department in charge of this student. They help us, they help them with money, but sometimes, or most of the time, raise your hand if you are in this situation that you have to help sometimes the students with money. We have to do it. Bullying, yeah, another situation that we face, not just in public schools, but also in private schools, okay? We got this situation. Sometimes we have to pay attention. It is difficult because imagine I have 6 groups, 30 people in each group. So I need to, analyze the situation in order to check if a student is living that situation. So it is something difficult, but there is moment that we can get if the students is suffering this situation. Discipline, yeah, my area, as teacher Arjona mentioned, but it has to be about students' attitude and behaviors. And most of the time, in my experience, it comes from parents' involvement. I mean, when parents don't pay attention to the students, they behave badly most of the time. That is the main reason. Classroom size, well, it comes the big deal when we enter to the classroom and they start asking questions like, teacher, I want to go to the bathroom. Teacher, I'm thirsty. Can I go to drink water? Teacher, I didn't bring anything. Teacher, Juanito doesn't feel good. You have to call his mom. Things like that. But what they really want is to leave, okay? It's because the classroom, is full of people and they just want to leave. That is why they are asking a lot of questions. They want to walk around, see people and talk to people. Cell phones, big deal. Yes, I know. I have heard from my colleagues, they say, well, what I do is that I ask them to put the cell phones on the desk. And then when class is over, they can take the phones back. And I said, if I do that and I only have 30 minutes for my class, it will take too long. So what I do is to say, well, if I see you with the cell phone right now, this is my first call. Second call, I will take the phone to the principal's office, and then you have to tell your mother and your father if you want to get your phone back. So that is what I do, okay? The only way. Well, for me, works for me, but I don't know, you can find other ways. Drugs and alcohol, yeah, after the pandemic, big deal as well. Especially with the electronic cigarettes, also with this, I don't know, a kind of tube with shots of alcohol. And also, I didn't know, I learned about this stuff this year. And also something new, it was like kind of a cake, chocolate cake, which is marijuana, made of marijuana and things like that. We were really worried about this situation, but we talked to the police department and they say, like, every time that you got this situation, we're gonna go to the school and we're gonna take those students and take it to a program that they have to take for a period of time. And then we will give them some instruction, we will talk to them, and that will be something good for you. So that's what they say. So that's what we're doing now with this situation, because believe it or not, it starts with 7th graders. On, yeah, teachers' duties at school, yeah, very important. Some people say, and I laugh when I hear people say like, okay, you're a teacher, you just work 5 hours and you get the money and that's it, you finish. And I said like, whoa, imagine that. Yeah, imagine that you have to do all this paperwork. I mean, to grade, to calculate, you know, the final score, to deliver papers, a lot of things. We have to manage time, okay? Because sometimes we live like in Neverland and we're saying like, yeah, I will cover this material. I will teach 5 lessons for this trimester, but it is not true. We can't do it because we got school activities that sometimes we have to organize. And also we have to prepare. We also have school meetings, administrative tasks like updating students' records, because that will be a word for a secretary, but it is not. Sometimes we have to check if the papers are there, if the grades are the correct ones, things like that. And also to cover the material that we say that we're going to teach. So these are the situations that we face. So let's talk about the recommendations according to my experience. I can say the first thing, avoid feeling frustration. I mean, we're not perfect. We cannot, we're not like the heroes of the story that we have the solution for everything. So we have to think about that. What time we're gonna get there, we're gonna find a solution, okay? So we cannot feel like, oh my God, I'm frustrated about my students, about the way they behave. It is not recommended, okay? We have to think about that. We will find a solution for the problem. Be enthusiastic. When they see us angry, sometimes they try to behave, some of them, the good ones, but the bad ones, or to say the bad ones, they will say like, okay, if you're upset, I'm going to upset you more. Okay, so sometimes, yeah, it's a challenge. And even though you try to show them that you are upset, or to, you know, to put up a gesture, a big gesture, so they don't care sometimes, believe me. Be aware of the cause of behavior. It is important to know why. That is why I talk to you about parents' involvement, because that is the main reason. When they got problems at home, they behave badly. Avoid yelling, using grades as a revenge. My colleagues believe in that, in this strategy, I would say, using grades as a revenge. So they say like, my students, they don't do anything, but they are really learning. That's the question. Or punishing in front of the class. Sometimes we think that say like, I'm gonna do this and this and this to you. So everybody is like, okay, I'm going to behave because you say that, but sometimes it doesn't work. Take time to know your students. Yeah, we need to know them. We need to know them. We need to understand why they are behaving the way they're doing it. Establish routines and goals, but try not to fall into monotonous. Ask for different ideas. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm not the best teacher. I can be a good teacher, but if I need some advice, I can ask for advice. Set effective limits. Yes, we need to know when we can be nice, but not too soft, because they are gonna take advantage of us. Model ideal behavior. If I talk about the cell phone, I cannot be talking or doing something that I say it is not correct. Have strategies to address bad behavior. Yes, as I said, it is important to have something in mind because we cannot just go to the classroom just with a lesson plan. That's it. No, we need to figure it out other ways to catch their attention. Explain the reasons of setting rules. Yeah, when we set rules, we have to explain why we're setting these rules. What is the main point? Because we want them to learn. And build excitement for the material. That's true. We need to think about that. I asked 2 questions to my students last week, and you will see what they say about that. Yeah. What the students think of the teachers matter. What the students think of the teachers matter, sorry. The first question was, what can teachers do to make learning more interesting? And they say, this was from students of 7th grade, 9th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. And they say dynamic classes. So they get bored. Interactive classes. So they want the teacher not to be just talking like me right now. They want us to, to ask questions. As I said, questions to clear idea. Resume the information. They feel like too much information. That's what they think. They feel. Change the way of teaching. Well, sometimes if I show this to my colleagues there, they will say like, they are saying that because they are, but we cannot be teaching the same way. I mean, we can do something different. I mean, it is important, it's not to change everything, but some things, I would say. Improve how they talk to students. So that's why. And one of the students, the one who wrote this down, was from a student who was in the detention. That would be in English, the detention room. It was there. He was like, he had a problem with a teacher, and he said that improve how they talk to students. Okay, the second question. How would you describe a model teacher? I enjoy this question. When I was reading their answers, I really enjoyed this. They say kind, patient, nice speaker, caring about how we feel, willing to help us if we can understand the lesson, respectful, friendly, considerate, gracious, firm, but not strict. So, yeah, really like this question. So, my conclusion, I can say that find the midpoint between being kind and not too soft. This is very important because, as I said, they can take advantage of us. Sharing opinions and thoughts through a nice talking will help us to establish a respectful interaction. We need to talk to them. It is not that. It doesn't say that we're perfect and they are not. We need to talk, to listen to them, and to find, as I said, the midpoint. Avoid falling into monotonous class. That is something that happens a lot in public schools. Being rude and using grades for an effective classroom management deteriorate the teaching learning process. That is true. And it also affects us, believe it, in the future. Okay, so thanks for listening to me and paying attention. I cannot get that when I am in classroom, but I get it here, so I'm happy for that.
What a great performance, Teacher Yosita. Thank you so much for all your experience and expertise on this topic. It's very needed today, and you have demonstrated with your experience that if you're here, it's possible. We could do the job, right? Because you're here. All right, last but not least, I'm the last speaker for tonight. Thank you so much for staying here for my last talk. So I'm gonna introduce myself. Just give me a minute so I set up my presentation as well. All right. Many of you do not know me. I am Professor Jose Arjona. I got a master's degree in higher education, a BA in English with emphasis in translation, and a teaching degree. All these 3 degrees from Isaiah Universidad. So today it will be a great pleasure for me to be addressing you as this beautiful audience, the very important topic, and I hope you like the topic. If my presentation is ready, so we can go ahead on the presentation, okay? So today I'm gonna go ahead and while he's working on that, I will continue getting there. So you guys just be patient there, all right? Thank you. All right, today's presentation is entitled Motivating Students to Achieve Their Learning Objectives. This is a crucial topic for all of us when we speak about syllabus and curriculum, the way we're going to cover with this. So to get started, I'm gonna start with the first slide. You will have to help me with that. All right, so during my presentation, this is my outline. I will cover the following topics. Firstly, teachers' leadership strategies, the mentor leadership strategy, characteristics of school leaders. Second point, writing learning objectives. Why have learning objectives? SMART, learning objective. Last but not least, Bloom's taxonomy. So I hope that you like my presentation. As you can see in the following picture, you will see a teacher which is well prepared, and as she is leading her classroom in a way that all students are actively participating. If you look at the picture closely, you see students are really interested in learning. They are having enthusiasm and showing it by listening to the teacher on what she has to say. They're raising their hands, participating, and that's exactly what teachers should do. When soldiers are sent to war, they must be prepared with tactics and techniques to defeat the enemies. Likewise, teachers must be ready with techniques and strategies to face and improve our main resource, our students. As I said earlier, the greatest resource of a nation is our students. We are preparing those who will be leading us in the future, but it's up to us as a teacher to do the right job and motivate them by being in the classroom and be able to make someone eager to do something. That is what motivation means all about. So once you do that, this is exactly what you're gonna have. A class which is students are going to be learning in a very meaningful way. Now, I want you to think about the following information. So teachers rarely see themselves as leaders. Believe it or not, we are leaders. And a leader is the one who has passion for both, for teaching and mentoring students. When you show that passion, believe me, your students will see that and they will put it into practice. You're not only teachers, but you are facilitators. You facilitate knowledge and you mentor your students by doing so. So from now on, change the mentality and think that you are a leader. And when you are a leader, you have your students in the palm of your hand and you will change their lives for good or bad. So the positive influence on them is up to you. Think about when you have a bad attitude. It's just like when you are driving a car and then you have a flat tire in the middle of a road. If you have a flat tire, the car will not take you anywhere. A bad attitude won't take you anywhere either. So you have to think about that for a moment and see yourself as a leader. But we do this for the benefit of all our students. So remember that you are not teachers, you are leaders. I have a hard time with the pointer today. All right. So I just wanted to bring with you this awesome quote that I took from this Mr. Crosby, in which the quote reads as follows: mentoring is to support and encourage people to manage their own learning in order that they maximize their potential, develop their skills, improve their performance, and become the person they want to be. As leaders or teachers, we have a big responsibility in our shoulders. But remember that you, number one, have two things to do. Support, show that you are there for them, and also encourage them to do it. Yes, you can do it. Let's do it with me. Next time will be better, but let's do it together. So that's what you have today, and your responsibility is to help that student to become the professional that he or she wants to be. When you do that, that's your payment. Let me change the word. That's your reward. And you have seen this, and as a teacher, I have experienced this. I started teaching when I was 18. I'm 32 now, more or less a couple of years now in the field. Every time I go out, I go to the movie theater, I go to the mall, I go to the supermarket, I run into students. Guess what? My name is not being used anymore. My name has been forgotten. They don't call me Jose Arjona. They say, teacher, teacher, from the other way of the supermarket. And a teacher is a teacher 24 hours, 7 days a week. Remember what you do now here that are checking on you. You are a model example for your students. You model for them first, and they copy what you do. So you behave good in the classroom, but when you go out, you do the same. Why? Because there is a society out there that they will blame you for doing wrong. So teachers all the time, you wear the cape 24 hours like a superhero, all right? You always have it on, and that's something that we should ponder on that, right? Just to continue with this, we should know that individuals who have a mentor, they will always succeed. They will have better jobs, they will have higher salaries, and they will perform a lot better because they have a person next to them that is always supporting them to do it. A person or student who does not have a mentor, it's going to be very hard for them to succeed. But in your case, if you have kids and you support them, they do well because they have a person there supporting them, a shoulder to cry on, or a support that is always given, and you know that they do better because you are there. So teachers, they are not your kids. You don't educate them. You only transfer knowledge, but you have to show support. That's important. Today, we never know what the students are facing, but they go to your classroom for one reason, because your classroom is a shelter for them. When the classroom is a shelter for them, they will always be there. Ready or not for the quiz, ready or not for the quiz, they will show up because they feel comfortable with you. And you might have experienced this before, as I have done it too. So it's great that we combined all of these strategies, because as teachers, we are leading to a change, in the world. So we want to see a change on our students. Let me see if I can go back to that. Yes. So we're leading to a change. If we want to see a change on our society, we have to lead. But leading is just guiding. But if we do it, it's because we're motivated to do it. So if they see our motivation, they will be motivated to do what you're asking them to do. So think about that. You lead for a change, and that's what you would like to see in your students as well. Now, it is good to have a different variety of strategies as leaders, but I would say the one that is perfect for us is when we mentor. So when we mentor, we model for our students, we guide them through the path, and we tell them sometimes what to do or what not to do because they had to take their own decisions. But when we are mentoring a person, it's like preparing someone for a competition. Or when you want to exercise and you want to be ripped or fit, you get prepared. It's just the process there that you have to go. So mentoring takes time to mentor other people, and it's just a process that we go through. But we guiding them through that process. We had to tackle all challenges, difficulties that accompany our role, but it's been proven that it's doable. So we can do our job if we do so. Now, speaking about this type of a strategy, I have brought to you 8 different characteristics of great school leaders. Vision. You have to be visionary in terms of having a purpose. So what is my purpose? What do I want to achieve on this lesson? What I want my students to do? So you have a vision of seeing them in the future performing and becoming the professional that they want to be. You also have courage. Teachers have to be courageous. You have to be brave because there are some obstacles in your road that you have to face, but just take the risk. We have to be risk takers, all right? So when we're risk takers, we're willing to do even more because we know it's a challenge. You want to prove yourself that you can do it. So you have to be courageous and brave. Passion. If you don't have passion for teaching, you are in the wrong career. Change. You're not becoming rich. If you don't have passion, don't show it to a classroom. Don't do bad to all students. All right? Because if you don't have it, you don't show it, imagine how your students will feel. Remember that you're projecting, you're selling yourself. Teachers, you sell yourself all the time. And the way you sell yourself is what you will get at the end, the outcome. You're always happy, you're always positive. That's what you will get at the end. A great outcome, a great result. So teachers have to be always positive. Intelligence, in terms of taking wise decisions as well. Be smart, understand your students, knowing that they have also difficulties, but you are there to show them what to do. I have more here, and these are crucial too. Judgment. When you judge people here, great school leader make decisions. Sometimes decisions will be very difficult. And sometimes we get sad when we make a decision, but we have to understand that that's part of the process, all right? We have to make decisions and let the students know the decision that we have made and telling them that that's for their own benefit. You also have resilience. To be resilient in this time is important. Tell the student that it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are opportunities for learning. Making mistake, it's not a crime. It's an opportunity for learning. So students need to know that it's okay to fail, but they should know how to overcome that. That's resilience. Failing, but knowing how to overcome. If you are just there on the floor, you don't stand up from there, all right, and move forward. So that's what we have to tell them. It's okay to make a mistake. So don't keep your students from making mistakes. That's not a crime. It's always an opportunity for learning. Curiosity. You have to be creative. They have to explore. They have to bring their own knowledge. Sometimes as teachers, we just want to be the authority of the classroom, telling them what to do. But when a student comes with one idea, we just listen to it. And we let them apply that idea that they have because they become creative. You are not the only expert on the class. Students have access to social media. They do have access to internet. They know how to read. So let them be part of it. Embrace them in their own learning. As you know, you are not the center of the class anymore. So you're not the main character. Our students are the main protagonist of their own learning. So they had to have curiosity and be creative as well, right? So let's continue with our next year after these 8 characteristics. This is something important. Student-centered, as I said, they have to have their own knowledge, their own opportunity to participate in class. You are there to facilitate or guide. So they had to do it on their own. Sometimes you just need to give instructions, sit down, guide, they'll do it if they are obviously well guided. So our class is not just me doing the talking all the time, but asking them questions to see what they got, in their brains. It's a great way to give them the opportunity to express themselves. So we know what is in their mind, but also in their hearts when we listen to them, all right? So beyond one classroom, not only in that classroom, but using that knowledge that they're learning to be applied in the future. Sometimes teachers don't make the mistake of asking the students to memorize things word by word. When we have students facing the real scenario, which is at a job interview or at any situation, you ask the students for questions, they're not able to answer. Why not? Because we have not prepared them to develop critical thinking. So critical thinking is always essential to say something out of your comfort zone. Why to use the memory for things? It doesn't work like that anymore. So we have, instead of conductivism, it's constructivism. They construct or build their own knowledge, and we only give them the opportunity if it's beyond the classroom. Also, collaborative. That's one skill of the 21st century skill, to work collaboratively. When students work in groups or in pairs, they have more opportunities for learning. Sometimes they don't understand the teacher or they don't get all the instruction from the teacher. But when I ask you to work with a partner, they easily get it because it's the same language, the same talking, but that's how collaboration is just all about. Having them in group, working together, great ideas will come out. You will be surprised, believe it or not. And this is a great strategy we can also use, action-oriented, guide them through the action that they have to take and also be a positive influence as well, right? You have to be just there, an influence for the students. They will just copy that and do it too. There will be a positive influence for their classmate as well. What you do, remember, will always have a positive effect, on your students as well. Now, motivation, remember, is a crucial part here because you will make them eager to do something. That's what motivation it's all about. Feedback, as the professor introduced, important, be specific. They should know what to do, what to expect, and what they could improve by being always honest. Students will always appreciate when you're honest. When you hide the truth, you are not helping. Just, they have to face the music, all right? And just have to be honest. Clarity, always. The instructions should be clear all the time. Trust and support. Students need to trust you. And when they trust you, they know that whenever they're facing a problem, they will come to you. Sometimes teachers get mad. Why is this student always going to the same teacher to talk about a problem? Why he or she doesn't come to me? Because you have built a bond with your students. You have built and they trust you a lot because they know that they will always find support and kind words coming from you as well, right? So mutuality, sharing the same vision, sharing the same objective, that's also crucial. So these are great characteristics of mentors. Now, in order for us to help our students to perform better, it's elaborating or writing clear learning objectives, right? And that's important. I had to do well on this part. One of my teachers is here. So I had to do great on this one. One of my teachers is here, so I had to do great on the learning objectives, all right? So when our students are motivated believe me, the lessons will have a very good impact on them and learning will take place, but meaningful learning as well. So to hit the target, as you see on the picture, is what we're expecting to have at the end. So to formulate a clear learning objective will take effort, but we could do this as well. So notice that, and I would like to ask the audience, I have done so much talking today, so I would like to ask you what comes to your mind, or what feelings come to you when you hear the word writing a clear learning objective. What comes to your mind? Any volunteer? What comes to mind? I think I have a volunteer there. Go ahead on the mic, please. Wait for it. Mm-hmm. That's correct, and I appreciate your answer. Any other answer? What comes to your mind when the word writing a clear learning objective? What comes to mind? Do you guys feel nervous, confused? I think I have a question there. I don't know. Yeah?
Understanding is not a word. These other words like explain and describe, and you have to choose the words that make sure that you're talking it's clear.
It's spot on. I agree with you all the way. Very good job on this activity as well. Thank you for that. Now, you have to know the principal reasons for writing clear learning objective. Firstly, learning objective guide the lesson planning. Obviously, when you write your lesson plan, there should be an objective. Students should know what they're expected to do at the end of the lesson. It's like you have to have a purpose. I cannot write my lesson plan without an objective. I should have one objective, which is going to be the outcome at the end of it. Learning objective guides even the assessment or the evaluation, because the objective is related to exactly to whether the evaluation is going to be formative or summative. So it's going to guide them through the process. And learning objective communicate what students are expected to do at the end. So these are the main reasons for writing clear learning objectives. They will guide our lesson, our assessment, and they tell them what to expect at the end of that lesson. Having said that, we could move forward on this one, which is a smart learning objective. Some of you already mentioned being specific. When you are specific, it's being just clear about it, precise, concise about the learning objective they are writing. Sometimes we as teachers may make the following mistake when writing a learning objective. Students will be able to learn about the Second World War. Students will be able to learn. How do you know that they learn? How do you make sure that students are learning? How can you measure the verb learn? How can you measure the verb understand? Is it measurable? Is it achievable? You're not being specific. If you say students will be able to explain two main causes, there I can measure my objective. I'm asking something specific. Two major causes, two major impacts, explain. They're able to explain two. But to know about the World War, that's too broad, right? There's a lot of information on that one as well. Measurable, that's what I was saying. Is it measurable? Can you really measure this objective of you're measuring from here to here, 10 inches, 10 centimeters? You can measure this piece of wood that I have here. So likewise, an objective should be measured just like that, because you know that it's achievable. It says attainable. Is it achievable? Can they really do it at the end of the lesson? Only one session, 4 objectives. It doesn't make any sense at all. One single lesson for 30 minutes, 3 or 4 objectives, that's not attainable. Be specific, write 1 objective if you're only having 1 session for the day. Next day is a different thing, you write a different objective. Relevant. Is your objective relevant to the lesson? Sometimes when I check the lesson plan that the teacher might be teaching, but it doesn't match with the lesson, so the objective is not relevant to the lesson. What are you speaking about? Past tense, but your objective is about future. It's not relevant at all. So make sure it is, right? We also have time-based or targeted, which means you have a period of time to work with the objective. That is why you had to be specific, because if you're having 3 or 4 objectives for only 1 lesson, so you won't have time for that. So make sure that you have time, is time-based, that they can do it in the time. Sometimes we write at the end of the lesson, right? So we're expecting to have a result just right there on the spot at the end of that particular lesson. Now, I brought this picture to you all, and I would like to ask you this question here. What can you see in this picture? What can you see? Think about it. Don't be quick to answer. Just think for a moment. What can you see in this picture? What's going on here? Any volunteer, just raise your hand. I have a great helper in the back with the microphone on. I think I have an answer now. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Naif, for that. Any different perspective from the picture? Because we have different views. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for those answers. Dr. Mowat? You killed it. Thank you for that. All right. So yeah, indeed, this is exactly what we do. And this is the scenario we all teachers have in classrooms. Students learning different levels in different ways, different speed. But their main target, their main objective is just to reach a mountain. And that's what just they get in there. All right. In our classroom, when we have clear learning objectives, our students in different speed, different ways, they want to hit the target. We want to hit the target by emphasizing on our objective. Thank you so much for your participation here. Let's continue on the following. Now, objective should focus on 4 areas. So you have to think about this when writing one. The first area is the audience. You write your objective, not for the principal, not for your coordinator, neither not for both. You write the objective for your students. So your students is the who, and the question who asks about a person, right? Or people. So who does the objective pertain to? Our students. So that's the first area we should remember. Who? Our students, the audience. Behavior is the what. What are they going supposed to do? What are they expected to do? Sorry, the action on this one. So the behavior will always be the action, the verb. Remember, a verb always implies an action, right? So remember, that's the behavior. Condition. Under what circumstances or conditions will the learning take place? In the classroom, at the gym, painting, doing something different in a different area. That's the circumstances where students are surrounded by. That's the condition. Will always be how the learning will take place, how that behavior or action will take place. Last but not least, the degree. How much would they learn? A lot? Not that much? So that's the 4 areas. Remember, the A, B, C, D. I'm not speaking about the alphabet, but it's just A stands for audience, B stands for behavior, C for condition, and D for the degree. Think about these areas now when you go home and prepare your lessons for the next day or over the weekend, all right? So thinking about this, I think I have an example next on here. Notice that I brought an example here. Students will attend advising sessions, will choose careers that fulfill their chosen degree requirements. This is a learning objective. If you look at the action over here, I don't have the laser here, but notice here, red, audience, students. Purple is the conditions, who attend advising sessions. That's the condition. The learning will take place in those sections. It could be in a classroom, I don't know. It could be in a different area. The green one is the behavior, shows the action, which is to choose, all right? So the action is just there, and the degree, which is how much to fulfill, the requirements for it. I have a second example over here. And I would like to start maybe asking you guys if you really want to be involved. On the second example, do you guys look at the audience? Where is the audience on the second example? Any volunteer? The audience on the second example. You can raise your hands. The audience. Do you see the audience on the second example? Amal? Correct. Do you see the behavior, which is the action? What is the action? Behavior. Raise your hands. We have a great helper in the back. What is the behavior? What is the action? What are they expected to do? Go ahead. Again. Demonstrate, right? So that's the action, correct. And you will see under which conditions? What is the condition? Where does this learning will take place? Where? Where? Correct. In that particular section in the leadership program, it's the condition. You guys are awesome. All right. So thank you so much for that. Let's move forward on my next one here. Now, I have brought something which is very broad on here, which is from a friend of mine. He was kind enough to talk to me before this lesson, James Bloom. And I brought the Bloom's taxonomy for you all. What is the Bloom's taxonomy? It's just a classification of system that really looks at different levels of learning, looking at different levels of learning. All right, this is the classification here. If you notice, this is a pyramid where I got from remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. I want you to look at this side in which we use, but we have some action verbs next to them. We have from the lower level of thinking to a higher level of thinking. Lower, it's remember, and higher, it's create. So lower level of thinking to higher level of thinking is a classification of a system which looks at different levels of learning. Would you always ask your students to remember? Only there? You take them little by little, step by step, into that one until they get to the part of create. Sometimes you might start for remember or even apply, but you have to challenge the students not only to use the memory for something, but you tell them to apply, to use, to be able to explain, to decorate, analyze, compare, and contrast, research, do research when they get to that part, when they debate, and they do lots of things there. So remember, from this lower part our objective is to take them up to the higher level of thinking little by little. So when writing your lesson plan will be always great to have this list in which you can have a look at it and say, okay, I'm gonna start selecting here, choosing this there. I know my students can do this. So believe me, you will have a great outcome at the end of it. So when you do this, you are just like a soldier preparing for war, for the battle to defeat the enemy. You're not gonna defeat your students, but your objective is to have a meaningful learning in the classroom. So as a great soldier prepared for war, you have to have your tactics and techniques, as I said earlier. All right, so after this one, there is an alignment. They should all be aligned to the objectives, is aligned to the content, which is the material you're teaching. The activities, obviously, whether they are formative activities, you have a diagnostic one there, you want them to dance, to play, to research, to compare, to do something different, so they should be aligned. And also at the end, the assessment part of it. Assessment for learning or assessment of learning. So you have to look into that as well, all right? So, but they should be an alignment. They should be all aligned. I was linked, right? An alignment on this one too, as well. Now, this is it. And start with, by the end of this lesson, students will be able to read a book, tie their shoes. Why not for preschool? That could be an objective. They don't know how to do it. They want mama to do it all the time. But, you know, they can learn also that at school, right? By the end of the lesson, students will be able to, and they can also achieve this objective as well. Remember, how do you know if students or they achieve that? Avoid, understand, learn, and know. Because these verbs, as I mentioned earlier, they are very difficult to be measured. And we had to be fair. Our students are there because they want to learn. So we had to do the job. But writing objective that they can achieve, right? So make sure you follow this. This is very important. When I learned this, I just made the switch so fast, right? Because I knew that something was just wrong there with that. Does the person need to do it in real life? This is something that I will just bring it to the table today. Prepare your students for the future. Prepare your students for the real life that they can face the challenges. Not only for the moment in the classroom, that if you ask them next week or the following week, they don't remember. So do it and teach it so they can remember forever. All right? So when we do that in the classroom, when we take our job seriously, that's exactly what we're doing, preparing them not for the test. Let me bring just a scenario to you. For tomorrow, memorize the topic from page 1 to page 20. Students have to go home, hit the books, which means to study hard, eat it, and digest the information to be ready for a test. So they go, they sit down, they take the test. Guess what? They get 5 on the test. Ask them next week about it, they don't remember. Because the information was stored in the short-term memory, not in the long-term memory that is used for us to remember forever. So when you help your students to store the information in the long-term memory, you are preparing them for life. I'm so glad my teachers did with me. That's why I'm able to speak today fluent to you all and explain the topic. Because it wasn't by heart that I learned things. I was able to be prepared for this, for life. So think about that when you're helping your students. Teachers, believe me, your reward will be just experiencing that. My list of references based on the research I did on this one. And it was a great honor and pleasure for me to be speaking to you all on this one as well. So thank you so much for this. We have now a session for Q&A, which means questions and answers. You will have the opportunity to address the speakers tonight. If there is a question was left out, that you don't really got it, so you have the opportunity to ask the teachers now. So the session for Q&A is open. If you have a question, just raise your hand and say the teacher or the topic. If you don't remember, point at the teacher and be ready for that. Is there a time for questions? Who has a question? Who has a question? If not questions, we can just go ahead. Right? No questions, guys? You sure? Get the mic on that one, please. I couldn't hear. Repeat that again. Why so?
Thank you so much for all the.
Well, you got your payments there, teacher, already. That's your payment. Thank you so much for that. All right. No more questions? Good. So before we end with this, I'm going to ask our university dean, Dr. Gustavo Mislain Gonzalez, who will be addressing the audience before we end up on this one.
No, en perfecto castellano. Todo lo que diga puede ser usado en mi contra después. Bien, quiero en principio saludarles, aprovechar la oportunidad, disculparme por el retardo. Yo tenía una hora diferente, pero el error fue más de este lado que de la organización, así que mis excusas tanto a la profesora Doris como a nuestros speakers de esta noche. Un saludo a mis queridos coordinadores, además de la profesora Doris como coordinadora de inglés, a los demás coordinadores de carrera que siempre hacen apoyo a todas las actividades de los demás, y eso es importante porque la academia es una sola y la universidad lo es. Quiero saludar también a la profesora Ulina Map, a todo el equipo que permanentemente está con nosotros en todas estas actividades, también a la directora académica, la profesora Giselle, que ha tenido que retirarse. Es importante que sepamos que, entre otras cosas, pues mañana tendremos fiscalización de la carrera de Derecho y todas las carreras aledañas a la Facultad de Derecho y Ciencias Políticas. Por eso ha debido retirarse, al igual que el profesor Edwin. Yo me siento sumamente satisfecho, extenuado, ¿sí? Tratando de ponerme en auto con todo lo que dicen aquí. Y les felicito, ¿no? Porque hacer el seguimiento de todo lo que dicen es importante. Además de sentirme muy satisfecho de todo lo que aprendí hoy, quiero también manifestar mi satisfacción, José Luis, por escucharte, para tenerte en acción, ¿no? José Luis, pudimos compartir la docencia superior en evaluación, justamente. Por eso le hice dos señas cuando el profesor Morillo hablaba de ese feedback oportuno, ¿no? La evaluación permanente, que es lo que hoy se llama evaluación formativa, dicho en un castellano bastante técnico, y que es una tendencia importantísima. Pero decía a Doris lo importante de ser timely, lo dijeron, ¿no? O sea, que sea oportuno en el tiempo, ¿no? Que no sea fuera de lugar. En fin, lo cierto es que me agrada muchísimo que todas las temáticas vayan en el entorno educativo, quiera que no, que sea en inglés, que sea en otro idioma, pues terminamos vibrando por algo a los que todos nos dedicamos, que es a educar, de forma directa o de forma indirecta. Quiero rescatar tres cosas, elementos técnicos que no quiero perder de vista de mis colegas y de los que todos nos han escuchado y nos siguen en este momento por el canal de YouTube. Lo primero, el aprendizaje significativo no lo logra el docente solo. Y eso es algo que yo repito en todas partes, porque usted se va a encontrar con que el aprendizaje significativo parece una bandera didáctica, y no, el aprendizaje significativo es una tendencia del aprendizaje. Hago esta aclaración técnica porque no se trata solo de que el docente haga pompos y platillos y tenga la mejor presentación en Genially o en cualquier presentación o tipo de herramienta que utilice, ni siquiera a veces con la interacción. El aprendizaje significativo se da cuando el estudiante reconoce que desde el punto de inicio al término del proceso de aprendizaje, él aprendió, no lo decide el docente. Ojo con eso. Los que deciden en este momento que lo que aquí se ha hecho es significativo son ustedes. Nosotros podemos haber dicho lo que sea, desde el que les habla y por supuesto los invitados. Pero el aprendizaje significativo lo decide al final. Y esto cuesta entenderlo, pero José Luis lo dijo, centrado en el estudiante. Quiero también hacer notar que la unión de las presentaciones entre lo tecnológico, lo evaluativo, la gestión del aula, que me parece magnífico que lo haya hecho desde allí, porque los que enseñamos en el área de administración escolar hemos llegado a hablar desde la didáctica de la gestión del aula y entonces somos acusados de administrivistas, es decir, que queremos llevarlo al ámbito de la administración y no, pues la administración nos aporta elementos que la profesora resaltó muy bien a mi parecer y luego la planificación y la mentoría que nos habló José Luis. Haciendo esto, llévense por favor 3 ideas. Lo del aprendizaje significativo que no se nos olvide más nunca. Se da desde el momento en que el estudiante decide que su conducta de inicio y su conducta final ha habido cambio. Eso es lo que lo hace significativo. Así sea poquito, ¿sí? No son todas las maromas que hace un docente para que el estudiante le preste atención. Eso será otra cosa, pero aprendizaje significativo no lo es, ¿sí? Y lo digo porque además quisiera que nos fuéramos con la idea de que la enseñanza y el aprendizaje no son lo mismo. Y a veces en las presentaciones o en la literatura usted va a seguir encontrando enseñanza-aprendizaje. Y ya hay más de un didacta que ha corregido eso. Es enseñanza y aprendizaje. 2 caras de una moneda, pero que no son lo mismo. Aquí nos enseñaron. Vamos a ver si nosotros aprendimos. Esa decisión es del otro. Y esa otredad, como se dice en filosofía, es importante. Y luego, cuando revisen la taxonomía de Bloom, por favor revisen y pongan en el Google, en Doctor Google, taxonomías. Y se van a dar cuenta que hay otra serie de taxonomías que no son de Bloom y que también les pueden servir para el área de la enseñanza del idioma. Les doy ese dato porque Bloom nunca pensó en enseñar idiomas. ¿Sí? Lo digo por la especialidad de ustedes, ¿no? Y de todos los que nos escuchan que estén interesados en esto, ¿no? Hay por lo menos 5 taxonomías distintas a la de Bloom. La de Bloom es un inicio que les va a servir muchísimo, pero hay que dar ese salto porque hay verbos que Bloom no toma en cuenta en la enseñanza de un idioma. Entonces, bueno, dicho en perfecto castellano, me encantó. Les agradezco la presentación, les agradezco a ustedes la atención, la interacción y a todos los que nos han seguido por las redes. Muy buenas noches.
Thank you, Doctor, for your such inspiring words to all of our audience and speakers tonight. Definitely, we have had a blast today on these ones, and I hope that you guys took some notes and you were able to cascade later this knowledge by sharing this with other people. That was cascading mean, all right? To share that with other people. Thank you, department coordinators, for being here, students too. Now, I would like to mention something here. If at the end you would like to have a picture with one of the speakers, please come to the front and do so. But before we get to that part, we're going to deliver some certificates from the university we have here. So we would like to call Magister Jalilet Duran, and Professor Doris will deliver the certificate to her. Be ready for the picture. Professor José Murillo. Thank you. Magister Josita Grandinson. Thank you.
And Professor José Luis Arjona.
If you want any picture with the speakers or authorities, you can come forward. All right. Yeah. Guys, any pictures you would like to have, come here. Thank you.